Alright, so the whole reason I started making YouTube videos is because I had sent a picture of my boombox here, which I'll talk about in a minute, to my uncle and said, hey, check this out, it's finished. He said, that's pretty cool, have you ever thought about making videos about your projects? So then I started to do that. Well, what that means is that this was done before I started making videos. This is probably one of the coolest projects I've done yet. So, this was a long time in the making. I think it was 2 summers ago when I first started working at school over the summer as a janitor. I didn't have a Bluetooth speaker, and that was kind of annoying because we would be moving from classroom to classroom while we were cleaning, and one of the first things that would happen is we would have to disconnect the sound system, so we couldn't hook up our phone to listen to music. Frustrating to, freshman turning sophomore me, whatever. So, I went on the YouTube and found a DIY perks video about this little, $5 Bluetooth amplifier board, which I can put a picture of here so that you can see it better. I don't have it on hand right now. And so I figured, for pretty cheap, that's not a bad deal. And so what I did was I ordered, naturally, 2 of them, because you never know with one. It's just kind of how I roll. If there's something cheap and interesting, I'll buy a couple because I'll find some way to use it later. Anyway, so then that summer, I found a couple of real small speakers and hooked them up to that board with a 12-volt power supply. Worked phenomenally. It was perfect for what I wanted it for. It was wonderful. Then next summer comes around, and during that school year, I had finally started to drive because I turned 16, and now had a car. And being me, as you can tell, I like to mess with audio stuff. And so one of the things I had gotten for my birthday was this exact car stereo. I've since pulled it out of my car, but this was the one I had at the time. And so that was hooked up, and I decided, if I have all this, I kind of want to try subwoofers, because they seem cool. I kind of like bass. And so I got a set of Kenwood 12s, which I don't have anymore, but I'll put a picture of in here again. And so I hooked those up, and it was a blast. And then I was at the thrift store, and I happened to notice that they had a set of brand new Sony 6x9 speakers. And I looked them up on eBay, and the price they were asking at the thrift store was the same. So I talked them down $5 and bought them. Those are in my car. Now, what I did with the stuff I took out of my car was with the help of my dad and his CNC router, made some boxes for them and used them. Now, this one is the center channel in one of my home theater setups. And the other one, I turned into the 2nd generation Bluetooth speaker, because it was more compact and it was 1 piece instead of 3, which I can put a picture of that in here. I'm still not quite done with that one. It's on my list of things to do. I need to glue the box together and then put carpet on it. I do have carpet, so that will happen hopefully sooner rather than later. Anyway, so that was round 2, and that was the next summer. That was kind of nice because then we had 2 speakers so that I could loan one to the other crew who were doing a different classroom. Right? Same issue, you unhook the sound system, can't listen to music. Now we have more people working, so we can get through stuff faster, but there's also 2 groups. That was great. Then that fall came around, and I was looking around on Amazon, because I had seen another DIY Perks video where he used old laptop speakers, which I guess he had a decent media center laptop he pulled them out of because they sounded alright. The one I had on hand sounded like garbage. So I didn't wind up doing that project, but there was a tiny 5-watt Bluetooth amplifier board again, this time on Amazon. And so I was looking for that, and the link he had put in the description was out of stock. And so while I was looking around, I happened to see that this amplifier, which I don't remember the exact specs, I believe it's 100 watts. It's a 2.1 amplifier, and it was $30. It's like, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll build another Bluetooth speaker. So I bought it. And then I also happened to see on Facebook Marketplace an ad for an almost identical stereo, just with a slightly bigger LCD, and it was full RGB. This one only does B. So, RGB, why wouldn't you? And it was a decent deal. I think it was $50. So, I bought that, tore my car apart again, swapped stereos, and then now I have this one laying around. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll use that in a Bluetooth speaker. And, I mean, clearly I did. So, now it's winter. I think it's January or February of 2020. No, I take that back. It would have been November of 2019. Dates don't matter. Anyway, I happened to see, again, on Facebook Marketplace, there was a set of 2 of these 8-inch subs in a box with an amp. I didn't need the box or the amp, but, I mean, again, I think that was also $50, so not a huge deal. Maybe I'll keep the amp, maybe I'll sell the amp. Who knows? So I bought those, thinking, well, if I have a 2.1 amp, right, this thing, might as well have the 0.1 to go with it. There's no point in having it if you're not going to use it. Also, it will make the music sound better. That's one of the things about the first and second generation Bluetooth speakers I made that were a little bit subpar, is they don't have great bass. And being into audio, I like to get the whole spectrum. Anyway, so I bought the subs, and then I also saw, again, Facebook Marketplace, something I should probably spend less time on, but it also lends itself to these cool projects, so, you know, win-win. Anyway, so I saw these 5.25-inch Sony speakers, again, for my car. The original plan with these was to put them in my car and use the ones that came with the car in the boombox here. And then I got lazy and decided I'll just throw them in here. Worst comes to worst, I can swap it later. And so now I have all the parts, but I don't have a box. So then I talked to my dad and said, hey, do you have materials to make a box? He said, yeah, but this time why don't you draw it out in CAD? So then he told me about, I guess, an AutoCAD knockoff called NanoCAD that he's been using at work for a while. It's free. I figured, why not? I'll install it on my computer, figure it out. I figured it out, drew up some, I think originally I drew the plans out on paper and they were a mess. I can put a picture of that here. They're around somewhere. And then I moved from that, because that had all the dimensions on it, to AutoCAD, or NanoCAD rather, because then I could just send Dad that file and he could throw it on the CNC and cut it out for me. So here's the plans. And then I sent that to him, he cut it out, brought it home, it was great. Oh, here's a picture of that router, because I do have that. It is kind of cool. Anyway, so now I've got the box, I glued it together, and then it sat for quite a while, because I got busy with school stuff, the bowling season started, and I was busy all day, every day. So then I've finally got around to, like, test fitting everything. Yep, sure enough, got the measurements right, it works. Cool. Oh, what came next? Oh yeah. So we've got it all together now. Problem is, I don't have, and I can put a picture of this here, on the side of the boombox, there's a plate with a bunch of banana plugs in it, and then a power jack. It took me a while to get some of that stuff in. The power especially, just because I thought we had stuff on hand at home, and then we didn't, and then I had to go to Home Depot, but then coronavirus showed up, and we couldn't go anywhere, which it is what it is. And so I finally made it to Home Depot, got what I needed, put it together. And then I decided, you know what? These don't look all that great. I think I want to see if I can put some carpet on this one. So I ordered some carpet and some spray adhesive, and I put the carpet on it. I don't have any pictures of that, but I mean, it's carpeted now, so yeah, so that's sort of how it came to be. I am having a couple more issues with it, but that will be in a different video. I mean, I brought it into work. It works pretty well. I was impressed with it. And I can go over some of the internal wiring and whatnot in a minute. But yeah, so that's the story of my boombox. which I guess started all of this nonsense. So, there you go.